Hey everyone, Uncle Jesse here. We are in the new studio and I'm very excited because we're going to be turning this into this. Today I'm going to walk you through the process of installing the new floor tiling that I'm going to be using here in the studio space. I just had them delivered. It's 1,500 pounds worth of tiles that I need to move into the building. All right, so here's where we're at with everything. Yeah, there's no way this was going down as easy as I thought it was going to. But what I've done is I've just pre-laid out, in no particular pattern here, a bunch of the tiles here, starting from the center location that I believe the center of my design is going to start from, and then worked my way to the walls, quickly realizing that, yeah, this room is not square at all. So what I now want to do is refocus my attention on this entryway right here, because this is literally going to be the very first thing that people see when they walk in. So they're gonna come through, so they're gonna come in and see this blue room that I haven't painted and done any work in yet, but they're gonna come through here into the big studio area, and I want these tiles right here on the bottom to be as straight as possible up against this wall, just because I think it's gonna look the best when someone walks through here to see the studio space. I've also tried to prep and clean the ground as best I can. You'll still see that there's carpet glue stuck down in a lot of the areas. I didn't go through the process of grinding this out and smoothing it out. These are slightly flexible so that they should be able to curve a little bit with any imperfections in the floor. Here's a quick look at one of the tiles. This is a 20 by 20 tile, and technically it's 20.5 on each side, which on their website, when I ordered this, it really ended up screwing me up because I ended up ordering more tiles than I probably really need. I should have a good amount extra. We'll see when I actually get these installed. But what I really like about them is that they're flexible here. They're not a foam-like material. They're still a hard plastic, but they are really flexible. They are the flex tiles, the nitro flex tiles, and I went with a diamond pattern. They have a coin pattern, and they also have smooth. And in hindsight, I'm wondering if I should have gone with smooth, but we'll see how this goes in the long run. And before I actually ordered the tiles, I did order a whole bunch of their samples so that I could get this variety and see what they were like. Some of them are very hard plastic with openings. This would not really be good for filament to fall through. It might be great for a garage, but not in my studio. There are some others that are solid and hard plastic. Again, I don't want to be walking around and it's clicking and clacking or making excess noise here, since I'm going to be running printers and me talking just wouldn't work well. They also have gym floor tiles that you can interlock together in a variety of different thicknesses and patterns here. These would probably work better than the ones that I ordered, but I just didn't like the visual look of them, which is why I went for the flex tiles. The other really cool thing about the installation process is that it's only going to require a rubber mallet. I don't need to put anything down underneath these tiles, just the bare floor here. And I've just basically done a thorough cleaning of it. There's still some of the carpet adhesive on the ground there, so it's not perfectly flat. And again, this is why these semi-flexible tiles will work better for me in this space, especially with the uneven floors. So check this out. Here is a pretty sizable gap that I just cannot close between the tiles because it's such a large open space here, and it's not perfectly level, which in hindsight I probably should have done a better job of trying to get this level before starting this project. Would highly recommend that. Originally, that seam right there, this crack, was all the way over here and driving me absolutely nuts. What I was able to do is move it from right over here, tile by tile section, by tile section, by tile section, all the way to here. And I'm gonna keep going, see if I can get it to the very edge, or at least all the way into the black section here where it's a lot less noticeable. And I did that by just using a screwdriver and basically coming in here and
So here's the opening section. So if I want to move these over, I'll lift up these, pull this, use this set of tiles for leverage, and pull it towards me, and then hammer these in. And it essentially moves the crack one set of tiles over. So I'm hoping eventually I'll be able to get it all the way over to that full black section there, or even just off to the edge. But we'll see.
You guys have no idea how excited I am right now that I magically was able to get all the tiles to fit together. I am so excited. There's no more seam whatsoever. I was planning on pushing it from the center here all the way over until I was in the black section, or all the way to the edge. And I didn't even need to do that. I got to about 4 or 5 tiles from the edge, and it just sort of all perfectly fleshed out or leveled out and fit together. Good news, bad news time. I've got pretty much everything laid down. I've started working on the trim along the edges of the room. However, the play button here is just driving me nuts. It's too blocky. It's too, it's just not the way I want it to be. I want it to be nice, sharp angles. Also, these overhead lights, not so great for recording, but I'm just gonna run with it. Brandon Rubino, who's one of my Patreon members, commented on a post of mine that said, hey, instead of using those white tiles, just get rid of them, use all red tiles and paint it over with some white paint. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Plus, I'm gonna now rip up a whole bunch of these tiles because the actual red section is just way too large for the room. So I'm gonna knock it down by a whole bunch of tiles there, replace them with black tiles. Fingers crossed, I should have just enough to do this. And here it is, my new YouTube recording space. All of the flooring is finally installed. Got all the molding installed along the bases of the walls here. Everything's painted. It's basically ready to go for me to get my shelving racks up and running with my 3D printers and my other gear, start moving it into this space and actually start utilizing it for its purpose, which is a cool recording area. The one big thing that I'm gonna have to work on here is the echo that's produced in this room. The floor definitely did not help with any of that. I'll definitely have to look into some solutions here for the walls to help reduce some of the echo that you're hearing here, which is also why I've got the microphone right up in my grill. The other thing I'm gonna have to look into is the lighting for this room. Currently, everything's wired to one switch where either all of the lights are on or they're off. So having something that I can rewire where maybe sections of the lights are on, so I can have the back row of lights on versus the front here if I'm recording up front versus in the back there, would be very helpful, along with some other additional studio lights here that I could have off to the side, just so I can have this look as crisp and clear as possible. The tiles that I ended up using for this project are from Garage Flooring Inc., and I was able to order them and mix and match them based on my needs. Again, I went with the Nitro Diamond Flex tiles just because they're gonna have a little bit more give to this uneven surface. This was not a perfectly smooth, leveled area for me to install these in. I did run into some challenges getting this perfectly installed, but was able to work through those thankfully here, where there's no major seams or anything like that. Very easy to cut with a jigsaw as well, and should provide me with a great base to work on. And if I ever need to clean it, I can just use some soap and hot water, or worst case scenario, if I needed to swap out any of the tiles, I should be able to easily swap them out. There was no adhesive or anything like that I needed to lay down, and everything's perfectly in place and not shifting while I'm walking on it. Overall, very happy with how this turned out. And again, wanted to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters for your continued support and input on me making this space here, and specifically on redesigning the play button there to make it a little bit smaller and to make that play button actually very sharp. Now I just need to get some of those printer racks installed and actually get some things up and running and properly utilizing the space. And if you're interested in building something like this for yourself, I'll have links down below to where I picked up the tiles for this project. And yes, it was not cheap to order all of those tiles for this project. But I just want to say thanks again for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be making sure to post some more follow-up videos here on the new studio space soon. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get some printers up and running so I can start actually recording in this space. Hey, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.